Hello, my jelly fighters. My name is Jim, and this is your daily Brogue for Independence Day. And we've been talking about um, free speech. We have not been talking about it in terms of the First Amendment. I haven't said anything about that, but I guess if this is going to be for Independence Day, I may as well talk about um, things I like and dislike about the First Amendment. In general, the First Amendment to the Constitution. Actually, if I'm going to talk about it, because I just decided to start talking about it, I should actually read it, and we can talk about what the First Amendment means. Um, it's pretty simple. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of a religion, right? So there is no one religion for the United States, prohibiting the free exercise of thereof. So people should be able to actually worship it however they want. Okay, very simple. Or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or the right of the people to peaceably assemble, and further to petition the government for redress of grievances. The last basically means you're allowed to sue the government. Um, Also, you're allowed to sue other people. So that's in the Constitution. Sue, sue, sue. But the rest of it is um, the stuff we're talking about: speech, press, and the right of the people to peaceably assemble. Of course, what is peaceably? Um, that is a pretty loaded term. Um, so, for example, uh, people were saying recently, I mean, we've just been doing some stuff with the ICE riots, anti ICE riots. So it's getting hot, and people want to restrict who can have ICE or something like that. I'm not exactly sure what's going on. Well, I know what's going on, right? Um, so, so assuming that the people are assembling peacefully, they're not supposed to be interfered with, although in general you have the time, place, and manner restrictions that we talked about earlier on, right? That is, you can peaceably assemble, just not in my house. You can peaceably assemble in certain places, and the government's allowed to make certain prescriptions about time, so the government can say, you're perfectly fine in um, assembling in the park, but you have to get out by 10:30, right? And uh, you can't spray pesticide all over the place, or you can't harass people who are walking by, or something like that. So there are rules that you're still supposed to um, follow, right? You're still required to follow certain reasonable restrictions like that. Um, so, for example, dropping stones off the top of a highway is not, yeah, I don't think in any way part of that. You're probably not supposed to be on the highway. Number one, right? Blocking the highway is probably out of bounds, I suspect. I think the government has that right to say, we have this highway for a reason, and because you want to annoy people, doesn't mean that they want to be annoyed. So stop annoying them. Hopefully I don't need that. I don't see any place where I need the levitation, but could still show up. But these are some of the problems that we actually really, really do have, is that people do interpret these um, positions differently, right? So we end up with strange ideas about what counts as speech, right? We end up with strange ideas about, right? So, for example, and no matter how much I truly love pornography, I don't really think it should be considered protected speech. Um, I think that is a little bit on the um, paranoid side. Let's see, there are usually three of these, right? There should be eels still in here. This is a flood trap. Hopefully got all the eels and there are no more puddles. We'll find out. There could be a puddle. There is no guarantee that this didn't, that the random number generator didn't put a wall where there should not have been a wall, right? This happens, right? Is there a flooded something over here? No. Okay. Don't have anything to check scale mail, slowness, haste, transmit, teleportation, poison. So none of these are really super good. Okay, so I disagree on some of these things as people interpret them, right? So people interpret peaceably assembling as including, doing property damage and just not attacking somebody else directly, or just blocking off their um, ability to use public services. Yeah, there are people arguing outside of my window. I'm sorry. Um, so it's very hard to concentrate. I did not pick anything out of here, so I really have to. Scale mail I got is good, so I don't want to do that. What was that? +2 scale mail, so that's not a good choice then. So I've got entrancement, haste, no, slowness, and poison. Okay. Mm, mm, So we're going to go with that. These guys again. Darkness. Could use the life. I used it. G recharging. Oh, anti-magic? Okay, that got good. Not gonna survive, am I? Did not work. Dead from the Vampire Bat on Death 6 again. -2x. Not so great. Should have enchanted. Should have enchanted the Guardian Charm to use it again to scare off the bats. That was my only. It was one of my two options. My other option was to go over the thing. Anyways, I basically gone over these things again. I have not gotten to the more complicated things to do with free speech, but basically, we have the rights to express ourselves. We have the rights to do these things, and some things we've gone overboard because what's really important is that we're uh, able to express ourselves politically because we're in a democracy and we have to be able to say things that the other guy doesn't like so that everybody knows that there's a difference between me and him, right? When they vote, something like that, right? Everybody needs to be able to say what they think is wrong with the country if we're going to actually try to fix those things. Whether or not other people think those are things that are right with the country, or other people are offended that you think those things are wrong, right? So these are our these are the various bits with that. So that's my impromptu July 4th pro free speech anti-demonstrations. Not so much demonstrations, but the riots. I'm anti-riot, okay? I'm anti-riot. I'm anti-anything that's really adolescent. Gluing yourself to a highway is adolescent. You should go to jail for 3 years and be denied any federal funding in any sense or something like that for doing crap like that. Anyways, bye now.